friends, we have been discussing about the current affairs and the how questions are asked in the prelims, mains and interview. Now we shall take up certain issues and discuss. The first issue is the 250th session of Rajya Sabha. So, how are the questions, or what are the different questions that may be asked in the prelims? Let us try to understand. First of all, the constitutional provisions relating to Rajya Sabha. Second is the composition. Right? How Rajya Sabha is composed and what are the different, how the members are selected, elected, nominated, etc. Then, powers of Rajya Sabha, especially the special powers. Then, utility of Rajya Sabha. Then, comparison of Rajya Sabha and state legislative councils. Also, comparison of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. What are the differences and similarities, or what are the powers that are common to Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? In the special powers, these are the powers that are specifically meant for Rajya Sabha alone. So these are some of the question areas. So what I am trying to tell you is that these are some of the question areas. Remember, though I have written all as relating to Rajya Sabha, there can be a question relating to Rajya Sabha from history also. One point I would like to highlight as a general point here: whenever you read something relating to Constitution, please do understand it has a historical component. Whatever you read as part of Constitution, whatever you read as part of Constitution, Indian polity, any current affairs issue or anything that you read which is relating to Indian Constitution and Indian polity, please do make it a point that you get into the history also. More importantly, in the history, you will be studying this topic. Constitutional development in India. Go into this constitutional development in India, and please do refer this aspect also, because anything that is relating to Constitution has a historical backdrop, and this historical backdrop can also be a question in the prelims. Probably it can also be in the mains. Make it as a thumb rule. Whenever you read something in the Constitution, do not forget to read it along with history. I hope it's clear to you. Same way, I will be telling you, whenever we see the individual issues, I will be telling you the connection. Whenever you read something in geography, you will definitely go into environment. That is left unsaid. Whether somebody tells you or not, whether somebody reminds you or not, you will do it. The same way, whenever you read something in Constitution, whenever you come across something relating to Constitution, Indian polity, go into the history also. Because sometimes the questions may be from history also. For instance, if 250th session of Rajya Sabha is a topic from which the question is to be asked, if I were to be the question setter, I will first of all try to find out whether I can make any question from this. Very simple. From when Indian legislature became bicameral? It was because of Montagu-Chelmsford reforms, 1917 Montagu-Chelmsford reforms, which recommended for the upper house, and then by the Government of India Act 1919, the upper house was enacted. Right? And so this could be a history question. We will not be able to, we may not realize that there can be asked in the history. Actually speaking, the Montagu-Chelmsford Committee reforms recommended for the provision of having a Council of States, and the second chamber, namely the Council of States, was provided for in the Government of India Act 1919, and it came into existence in 1921. Right? And remember, at that time, it was the Governor General of India who was the ex officio President of the Council of State. Right? So these are four important points to be noted with respect to Rajya Sabha, the historical information. It came into force by Montagu-Chelmsford. It was first recommended by the Montagu-Chelmsford Committee. It was provided for in the Government of India Act 1919. It came into existence in 1921, and the Governor General was the President, ex officio President of the Council of States, as it was called in the Government of India Act 1919. So remember, this is the historical element, and this historical element can also be a question. Clear? Fine. Now let me rub this off. Let us go into the details of various aspects. Which are the provisions, constitution provisions relating to Rajya Sabha? See, Article 79 of the Constitution provides for the Parliament. There shall be a Parliament of India which shall comprise of the President and two houses, namely the Council of States and House of People. The Council of States is Rajya Sabha. And then Constitution Article 80 talks about the composition of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha's total strength is 250. Right? Rajya Sabha's total strength is 250, of which 238 are elected and 12 are nominated. Right? They are nominated by the President on the advice of the Council of Ministers of the Union from eminence from the fields of literature, arts, science and social service. Right? Literature, arts, science and social service. These are the four areas from which eminent persons are nominated to Rajya Sabha. This has been already asked in the prelims. Another important thing, when it comes to this 238 elected, they are elected from states and the union territories. Again, this is a prelims question. There was a statement asked in the prelims stating that the union territories are not represented in the Rajya Sabha. It is wrong. The statement is wrong because union territories also get representation in Rajya Sabha. Alright. So, for states and union territories, 238 members, 12 members nominated, and total number of members is 250. The maximum number is 250. This is a composition of Rajya Sabha, and there is a nomination element also. And then, when it comes to powers of Rajya Sabha, what are the different legislative procedures, quasi-judicial procedures in which Rajya Sabha has a role to play? For instance, Rajya Sabha takes part in the election to the office of the President and Vice President. Right? Now, election to the office of President and Vice President, this is an electoral role. Then, Rajya Sabha has a role to play in the removal of President and Vice President. With respect to President, we call it as impeachment, and with respect to Vice President, we call it as removal. Alright? Then, with respect to that, in the impeachment of the President, while the nominated members take part in the impeachment, they don't take part in the election to the office of the President. Whereas the members of Rajya Sabha, both elected and nominated, will take part in the election and the removal of Vice President. Alright? Fine. You take this as an important thing. And another important aspect is the special powers, or otherwise the normal powers. Let us see. Rajya Sabha takes part in all the legislative procedure, all the ordinary law. right, all the ordinary law making process, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha have equal powers, and their role is important, and every ordinary bill has to be passed by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha together. Unless both the houses pass, the bill will not become a law. Fine, let us continue with the powers of Rajya Sabha. As I was telling you, when it comes to ordinary law, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha enjoy equal powers. Unless and otherwise both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha pass the bills, the bill cannot be becoming a law. And more important, when it comes to ordinary law, please do understand the concept of deadlock between the two houses. Right? Deadlock between the two houses when it comes to ordinary law. If a bill is originating from Lok Sabha is transmitted to Rajya Sabha after being passed in Lok Sabha, and Rajya Sabha did not pass the bill, if Rajya Sabha rejects the bill, did not pass but rejects the bill, or if Rajya Sabha returns the bill with its recommendations, and if the recommendations are not acceptable to the Lok Sabha, or third, if the Rajya Sabha retains the bill for more than 6 months, not taking any action, then such a situation is called as a deadlock between the two houses of the parliament, and the president can call for a joint session of both the houses of the parliament. Right, the joint session of both the houses of parliament, or it is otherwise called as joint sitting of the parliament. So this is the power of Rajya Sabha with respect to ordinary law. Similarly, Constitution Amendment Bill. Without Rajya Sabha passing the Constitution Amendment Bill, the Amendment Bill cannot be passed at all. So these are some of the powers which Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha enjoy together. Similarly, the Council of Ministers can be a member of either house of the parliament. He can be a member of Rajya Sabha or a member of Lok Sabha. Both can become a member of Council of Ministers. Even the Prime Minister can be drawn from the Rajya Sabha. And important, if the Prime Minister is the member of Rajya Sabha, he will be called as the leader of House of the Rajya Sabha. And if he is a member of Lok Sabha, he will be called as the leader of House of the Lok Sabha. See, remember, please don't confuse leader of house and presiding officer. Presiding officer is different and leader is different. He is the leader of, the Prime Minister will be the leader of the house of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, depending upon where he is a member. Fine. So, Council of Ministers can also be drawn from Rajya Sabha. So, there is no difference between Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha in that regard as well. Fine. What are the special powers? There are certain unique features and special powers of Rajya Sabha. The unique feature is the Rajya Sabha is presided over by a non-member. Rajya Sabha is presided over by a non-member because Vice President is the ex officio chairman who is not a member of Rajya Sabha. As a result, while all the other members will have a term of 6 years, the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha will have a term of only 5 years. This is a very unique feature of Rajya Sabha because when the members have 6 years term, the chairperson has only 5 years term. Right? Take care of this. These are all some of the grey areas where the questions may be asked in a confusing state. Right? Given in statements, you may be confused. Then comes the special powers of Rajya Sabha. The special powers of Rajya Sabha, you have to understand the Article 249, by which the Rajya Sabha has the power to pass a resolution authorizing the Parliament of India to enact a law on a matter in state list. If it is expedient in the interest of the nation and the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution, then the Union Parliament can pass a law upon a matter given in state list. That is given in Article 249. Similarly, Article 312. in Article 312, whereby the Rajya Sabha can authorize the Parliament to create any number of All India services. Right, already we have 3 All India services mentioned in the Constitution: IAS, IPS and IFS, Indian Judicial Service. Right, IAS, IPS and Indian Judicial Service. Indian Judicial Service is mentioned in Article 312, but it is not been created because the Constitution has authorized the creation of Indian Judicial Service. And another service that has already been created is the Indian Forest Service. So we have 3 All India services created. 3 All India services, 2 Indian Administrative Service and Police Service are created by the Constitution, it's deemed to be created under the Constitution, and IFS was created by using the provisions of Article 312, and IJS is something that is to be created but mentioned in the Constitution. Alright, so these are some of the special powers. Similarly, going for utility of Rajya Sabha. What is the utility of Rajya Sabha? See, this is important for your mains. This is important for your mains. This is important for your mains. Rest other things are more relating to prelims only, whereas these 3 topics can be asked in your mains very importantly. This has been already asked. Right, this has been already asked. Utility of Rajya Sabha they have already asked. Comparison of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha they have comparison of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha has already been asked. So these 2 things are important for your mains. Rest other things can be known for your prelims. I hope it's clear to you now. So let us continue with the rest other news in the subsequent sessions. Thank you, friends.